broadcast network, AfterBuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hey guys! Thanks for coming back here and joining us here on AfterBuzz, talking Star Wars Rebels, Episode 7, Gathering Forces. Wait, Gathering Forces?
Don't even start. Nope, you're done. We've just started and you're already done.
Oh, sorry guys. I had to. They're using the Force, and they're gathering forces.
I would never have gathered that.
Oh, look, you did it too.
Ah, dang it, I didn't mean to.
Yes.
Dang it.
Oh, it's
All
rubbed
right.
off. It's contagious.
Oh, so good. All right, welcome back, guys. We're doing a little early this week because of the holidays and whatnot, but, you know, it all works. This is actually the last episode until we come back after the holidays, like after Christmas and after the New Year.
So January is the next new episode.
Yeah, January the 5th is the next episode. Path of the Jedi is what that one's called.
And that's why they left us that nice little, oh, here's information. You don't get to know it.
Right.
Okay,
They're making us wait around. Before we get started,
sure we come back.
I had a question. I saw somebody left us a question on our iTunes comments. They asked us. He said it was just a simple question, but he was wondering. The commenter was Bun Papa. Thanks, Bun Papa, for your comment. Bun Papa. Why does Kanan put his lightsaber together? And you know, I kind of wondered that question myself, but I'm thinking it has something to do with he wants to carry it around, but he doesn't want it to be obvious like a lightsaber. And I know no one ever really has done that before, and I tried to look it up online. I couldn't really find anything about it. So my only guess is he keeps it in pieces, so if people see it, he goes, oh, whatever, it's just a bunch of junk I'm carrying.
I was thinking maybe it was like kind of a safety device.
Maybe.
Like it wouldn't fully function until he put it all together, but I guess that's not true either.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't fully function,
I mean,
but no other Jedi carries that around like that.
It looks really cool when he puts it together. I think it's as simple as that.
Well, and it could be I'm not really a full Jedi. I'm not really supposed to be carrying this weapon around, but I will use it if I need to.
Well,
so it could well be
that
too.
That goes into my theory of him being like incognito Jedi, where he's carrying a lightsaber, but he's not. Because if someone ever saw a lightsaber on his hilt, they'd be like, whoa, hey, what is that? And he might get reported to the Empire. So
might.
Then he'd have to shoot
might.
first and
that's
all
not
sorts
good.
of other things.
And a quick few other shout-outs on YouTube there. We had a commenter named Daniel S. that said he loved our after show and loved listening to it all the time. So thanks.
Aw, Daniel. Thank you.
I couldn't pronounce your last name, and I did not want to mess it up, so I'm just calling you Daniel S. You know who you are. And then we also had Slade the Deathstroke, who told us we had a good show. And also, we see a lot of comments from the Baron of Hell.
Yeah.
Thanks, Baron
Baron of Hell is on like all of the shows that I'm on.
Hey,
he
good.
is a
Maybe
great
he likes
human
you.
being.
Following you around.
No, I don't think so. I think he's just an AfterBuzz fan, and I happen to coincide.
Well, thanks for watching, anyways.
Yeah, you
All
guys rock.
Yeah, so let's get into this. Woo! We start off right where we left off last time. We got TIE fighters chasing down ghosts, flying around in space. Hera's going, whoa, what's going on? Why do we got all the attention all of a sudden?
Why are we more popular today?
Yeah, exactly. And they were like, well, it might be because we have this guy who has tons of information on the Empire.
That explains that. Okay.
Yeah. So they're all jumping into places. Chopper's knocked out, so Zeb is jumping into his spot, and we have Ezra is still kind of like trying to shake Sibo down for some more information, and Sabine's kind of running around all crazy. Everybody's going crazy right now because they're all getting shot at. And Sibo says that he gets Sibo to snap out from in. Sibo says that the troopers came in and he was afraid like of them, and he couldn't save Ezra's parents, and then he also couldn't raise Ezra because he was just like afraid. Ez gets really mad. He calls him a coward. He says he failed him. He failed his parents. He'll never forgive him. And
I have unresolved trauma.
yeah.
Well, and I liked, just that moment where Sabina's like, well, did you hear him? He says he knows what happened to your parents. And Ezra was like, I already know what happened to them. They're dead.
Right.
And I liked that because that was, he explains that he was able to keep going. He couldn't believe that anybody would swoop in and save him. He wouldn't have been able to survive.
That's true. Yeah, he doesn't want to believe it because if he believed it, then he'd be running around just relying on that instead of relying on his ability to save himself.
Well, and it hurts too much to believe in something for which the odds of it coming true are that low.
Right.
Once the Empire gets someone, they don't usually come back.
Right. You get your hopes up, you're going to get knocked down. So, I get it,
Yeah.
I get it.
It sucks, but...
Yeah. There's, what show was that? There's a show where they say, like, if you always keep your hopes very low, you'll always be happy. But if you keep them very high, you're always going to be upset.
My dad, that's my dad's motto going into, like, shows, like, to plays and musicals.
Oh,
He's like,
okay.
if you keep your expectations low, you won't be disappointed.
Yeah, exactly.
Then you have no enthusiasm.
Well, you do when it turns out really good.
Yeah, then you're all happy.
Anyways, so Hera calls in Ezra to come into the cockpit because the nav computer's down and they can't jump into hyperspace. And she tries to fix it, but Chopper's not there, and Ezra doesn't know what's going on. But I guess Sebo hears, and he runs in, and he's like, "We gotta." He says something like, "Hyperspace is the best way to travel, through space." Oh, thanks, Sebo. So he just plugs in hyperspace coordinates into the computer without even fixing anything.
Well, he fixes it
Yeah.
in like 3.5 seconds
yeah,
flat.
right.
And then boop, 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 and away we go.
Boom, straight into hyperspace. So he kind of saved the day there. And then, what? Oh yeah, he tells them that they can probably track you guys. They're tracking you, and they're like, they can't track people through hyperspace, and they're like, comes out a schematic. It's a good thing having him around because he knows all of these secret Empire tricks.
Well,
Yeah.
and 2 minutes ago, we saw the Inquisitor fire that from his super special,
Right.
awesome TIE fighter.
Yes.
Can I just say that I love the visual of the Inquisitor in his helmet with his eyes shining through?
Yeah.
Like, because it's just a very slight thing, but you're like, you can see his eyes through that, and that's
Yeah.
really cool.
He's a Cylon.
I swear he's related to the villain from Mulan.
Ooh. You think so?
Help me with the name. I cannot remember. Shan Yu.
Shan Yu.
Oh, because of those
Yeah,
crazy
'cause
eyes.
those eyes.
Yeah, I could see that. Maybe.
It's all Disney now.
Well, Star Wars did take place a long time ago. So maybe he went to
Now
another
that
galaxy.
I've completely derailed our
and-
conversation.
I think that's a teeny bit of a stretch. Just a teensy one.
Okay.
It's
yeah.
Disney.
a
It's all
stretch.
connected. It could happen. Moving on.
All right. So they fired. Yeah, you're right. The Inquisitor fired the tracking device onto the ship. Sebo's telling them, "Oh, hey, they can track you guys." He shows them what it looks like. They fix Chopper, and Chopper wakes up freaking out, swinging his arms all around, going crazy. And Hera's like, "Relax, like you've only been out for a few minutes, like chill." He probably thought he'd been out for like years or something.
He's like, they turned me off and didn't bother to fix me.
Is it sad that I kind of want a Chopper backstory now?
Yeah, no, I think we all do. I'm telling you, he works for the Empire.
Really?
I think so. I think
You think he's a spy?
he's trying to kill them all.
Are you being facetious?
He tried to kill Ezra like 2 or 3 times now.
Yeah, but can you blame him? I mean, can you really blame him? Some days it's just like, why are you our main character?
At one
do
point,
wonder-
he pushed him off of a ship, like by throwing stuff at him, and like he almost fell to his
So
death.
did Zeb.
I feel like Chopper is in some ways a 5-year-old. He sees someone doing something and he wants to join in and play along and doesn't understand that there are limits and lines that you really shouldn't cross. So, oh, hey, we're throwing things at him. Oh, I can do that too. Let me do that. I throw things really good. And there he goes.
I think of him
like
as
a
the exact
5-year-old.
opposite because he's such an older model. He's just comes off like a grumpy old man to me.
That doesn't mean he has emotional maturity.
You kids, get off my lawn!
I don't want
Even
to
if
see
I have
you
to
anymore,
throw you
Ezra.
off.
I'm gonna throw you off the ship. I don't know. He's
That's
trying-
just
I
how
think
he
trying to
is.
kill
He's
him.
just set in his ways.
Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Oh, wait!
So they make Ezra scan the ship for the tracking device. They find it, and luckily it's on the Phantom, which is the little ship that docks into Ghost. And Kanan has a crazy idea. He's like, we're going to detach that ship. And they're like, what? You're going to detach while in hyperspace? Which I even thought, what? That sounds crazy. How are you going to pull that off?
Yeah.
Sure, why not?
I was almost expecting this to end with just an explosion. Series over.
Yeah. Because I imagine hyperspace kind of like a wormhole where, like, you know, it's just kind of like a shortcut through space. And as you're flying through it, everything's whipping around and it's bending space and time or whatever, and they use the hyperdrive in their ships to be able to like make this happen.
And it kind of looks like that, just with the effect that's used, with the way it's elongated before it disappears.
Right, exactly. It's kind of like that, and I think they're supposed to be traveling near the speed of light or whatever, and it's kind of like what a wormhole kind of does. And it's like driving through one and then all of a sudden just tucking out of it. Like, what is going to happen? Like, that sounds crazy.
Well, it's like going 90 on the freeway and then taking an exit at full speed.
Yeah. Or like almost light speed on the freeway and then taking an exit.
Okay, I was going for a metaphor that some people could relate to. Although if you're in LA, you've probably never gone 90 on a freeway.
No way. That's
Yeah.
crazy talk.
Oh, I meant traffic, not 3 a.m.
Oh, yeah. I've never tried that. I should. Sounds fun.
That would be
405 on like a holiday morning at like 3 a.m.
Oh, don't do it on the 405. Do it out on like the 10 or something. Do it on something that goes into the
Don't
boonies.
do it at all. It's
Don't
against
do
the
it at
speed
all.
limit.
That's
and
a-
certainly don't admit to it on the internet.
Speed limits are kind of suggestions.
They're
On the
guidelines
freeway,
instead of
yeah.
actual rules.
All right, anyways.
Now
So,
that we've
they
had that
have-
nice little
yeah.
confessional.
Moving on.
So they have this crazy idea that they're going to just detach the ship, and Kanan wants to do it near the old Clone Wars bases in the asteroid field where we have been before, and they have I think they're called Fear Nox, not Phrynox as we said before, because it's
where
spelled
there's a portal to hell.
Yeah,
Where
yeah.
all the little hellspawn come out.
Firnock. I think that's Fear Nock, maybe, or Fire Knock or something. I don't know.
I don't
We're gonna
know.
say Fear
The
Nock.
commenters will tell us.
I would buy Fear Knock because those things
Are
just
scary.
Well,
Yeah.
they don't look like them, but they remind me a lot of the creatures from Pitch Black.
Oh, yeah.
Just because they can't like deal with the sunlight. They look like a cross between those and like evil gremlins, I suppose.
Yeah, they're creepy little things.
They all got fed after midnight.
So
Guess so.
Kanan wants to go down there, and you're like, okay, what's up with that? Who knows? But when they start getting down there, this was the coolest part, by the way. To me, this was awesome. When they actually did detach and go through hyperspace, that was awesome. That was a cool scene. I had never seen anything like that before.
Yeah, no, that was something new.
Yeah, that was awesome because you saw them going through the effect of the hyperspace, but like coming out of it like really forcefully instead of normal where they just when they slow right out of it. So that was really cool. You see the ship all flying around all over the place, and
All
Kanan's
the
like,
colors
"Ah!"
and everything. Yeah.
I honestly thought they were going to die and that Hera was going to be our main character from here on
Yep.
in.
Yeah, Kanan and Ezra are dead. Show's over, guys.
They died that day. Let's follow the rest of the crew.
So I like it right when all that craziness goes through, and they barely make it out. They did, I think, almost die. And Kanan goes, that was the easy part.
It wouldn't be a Kanan plan if near death weren't the cornerstone.
And after that, and this is the whole reason why they detached together, Kanan and Ezra, is because he knew that the Inquisitor not only was tracking them with a tracker, but he was also tracking them through the Force, because he could sense them, and he was like keeping up with
so
like.
even if they had been able to detach it and just leave it,
It wouldn't have tricked them for very long, because
Yeah.
the Inquisitor would have been like, they're not really there. Keep going. I still feel like they could have got away, but
it might have
just-
bought them a little time, but it was a short-term solution to a long-term
exactly,
problem.
Yeah.
Exactly. So they go down. They think we're going to lure him down there, and maybe we can try and take care of him or something. So they go down there, and this part was funny too. Ezra says, "Can we go over the plan again?" And Kanan says, "I never told you what the plan was."
The audience is just like, pause it. I got to go get popcorn. Seriously, just continue.
Well, and that just seems to be the kind of going theme with Kane.
Yeah, I love Kanan, man. He's such a cool, he's like a rogue Jedi, cowboy Jedi,
Who
flies by the
sort
seat
of
his
knows
pants.
what he's doing, doing.
Yeah.
But you know
I
that
figured
if
it
he
out.
had told people half of his plans before they got started, 90% of the time they'd just be like, hell
you're
no.
crazy. We're
Yeah,
not doing
they'd
that.
be like, there's no way.
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
absolutely no way you're going to kill us all.
And now it's like, we're here. You're stuck with me.
Yep.
Better get it
Do
done.
your plan. Here's the plan: is he wants Ezra
do not. There is
to
no try.
Yeah, exactly. Do or do not. There's no try. He's already
We
told
are
Ezra
removing the try from the situation entirely.
that. Always. Pretty much with Kanan, it's just do. You don't have a choice.
It is
It's not
the
even
Jedi
do or do
way.
not. It's do or die.
Just do or you're dead. So they get there, and he wants Ezra to connect with the Fearnox like he was trying to make him connect with that little creature on Lothal.
You weren't able to connect with the tabby cat, so let's put you in front of the saber-toothed tigers and see if it works a little better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Baptized by fire. You know, there's only one way to do it. So
Do or die.
Yeah. So Ezra's like, oh wait, what? I can't do that. No. I'm scared. Can't do it. He even says like, I'm scared. I can't do it. But that's when Kanan says, hey, look. First step of being scared, is admitting you're scared, and you did it. So that's more brave than a lot of people can even admit it. So, because he told him earlier that if he wants to be a Jedi, he has to be honest with himself. And that makes a lot of sense because you can't tap into like the Force and use it to do all these other things if you can't even be honest with yourself. So that makes sense. So he gets out there and he's trying to. These creatures are all now swarming him, and I love this part where he's one with the Force, one with the Force, one with the Force, one with the Force. Nothing's happening. They just get closer, and Kanan jumps down and he's like, Ezra, you're not being true to yourself. You gotta admit, like, you gotta be true. What's wrong? Blah, blah, blah. And he admitted to being afraid to knowing the truth about his parents.
Have your emotional revelation now.
Yes.
Or we're all going to die.
Exactly. He
Way to
says, I'm
force
afraid
it.
to know. And through the Force, he even said he was sorry to Sibo all the way wherever they were, flying through hyperspace at the same time. And that, like, released, like, all that built up emotion and stress and whatever, and then he was able to boom connect.
Well, because at the very top of the episode, he says he'll never be able to forgive him. Mm-hmm. So that can't be great to hear if you've just come clean to somebody.
Right.
Yeah.
So he does, and now they turn around and every single one of those creatures sitting there like a little puppy dog. I'm just looking at him like, what are we gonna do? Hey, what do you need us for?
Hi, can we play?
Yeah,
Hi,
yeah,
hi.
exactly. And this was a cool part. Right after that,
Yeah.
we go back. Hera's docking with a ship. I was like, hey, look at that ship. What's going on? And she docks with someone named Fulcrum.
From a couple episodes ago.
Yeah, it's Hera's secret contact. And even like Zeb and Sabine were like, oh, can we meet Fulcrum this time? She's like, no.
Nope. Okay,
No.
kids, you stay in the car. I'll let you have the radio on, but I need to go in the gas station and pick up supplies.
That ship looked familiar to me. If anyone online knows what kind of ship that was, could you let us know on YouTube and or iTunes? Or you can tweet at us and we'll give you our Twitter information later.
And I apologize, I wasn't here when you guys were recapping the first episode with Fulcrum, but did you guys discuss the kind of theories that are popping around?
No, but
I
you
think
wanna
he's a
talk-
traitor.
we have some other later. Let's do news and gossip
Okay,
or whatever,
so-
and we'll talk that,
Talk
and
about
we'll
it.
talk
We
some
have
other
news and
stuff.
gossip
We have
this
other news
time.
and gossip this time
Yeah.
too. So we'll talk that in a minute. So we see that ship that she attached to, and Fulcrum's there, and right before they bring Sibo over, she tells him, "Hey, tell me what you know," because he says like, "I know what happened to the parents." So boom, but there we go. So we know that Sibo's going to tell Hera.
So the information's not lost.
It's not
and that's
lost.
good to know.
Yeah,
at
because
least.
but right before they left, Sabine said, "What if you never see him again? You better talk to him now." And he's like, "I don't care," and he left.
I was surprised Sabine just didn't ask. Maybe she felt like it was none of her business.
I think she.
But
Yeah.
if they were legitimately like, I mean, their plan was to get Zeba to safety
Right.
and everything like that. So, yeah, why wouldn't she ask so the information wouldn't be lost?
Because I think Sabine is still young too. I know she's older than Ezra, but I still think she's young.
Yeah.
So she's in that stage where I think it's not really her. Like like you said, she doesn't think it's her business, but she also doesn't feel like she's
has the authority.
has the authority to go in and like do that, and maybe that will make Ezra mad.
Sidestepping something that's
Right.
against his wishes.
Whereas Hera is more like a mother figure.
Yeah.
She's a little older.
She's Team Mom.
And yeah, so she she kind of has that
Well,
power.
and even the way she gets the information, it was very motherly and very nurturing.
Right,
very
and you know
comforting.
that she would deliver it to Ezra better than Sabine ever could.
Yeah.
So that's fine. And I feel like Sabine kind of knew that. Or maybe she even knew that Hera would probably take care of it.
That it just wasn't her place.
Yeah, it just wasn't her place. Even though Sabine seems to be lightening up to Ezra. You notice that? Like she's getting a little onto him. Like she's kind of got that either like... Now it's kind of like a close friend / sisterly,
She's warming up to him.
Yeah.
She doesn't usually call him by name.
Right.
She usually calls him or refers to him as kid.
Yeah.
And we got a first and last name drop this episode from her. And
Right.
That's unusual.
And not only that, but the way she's fighting with him about like him helping his life is something that only a friend would do.
Yeah.
Only someone that like cares for the other person would do. Because like a person that didn't care, they would just not care. I don't
They'd be
walk
like,
away.
Yeah, you don't
Okay,
have
bro,
those arguments.
whatever.
You
Right.
don't have those arguments with someone if you don't care.
Ex-
Zeb's not having those arguments with him.
Exactly. So that's good to see Sabine warming up. Imperial ship. I think it's like a Tidarium shuttle comes flying down, landing on the asteroid base, and the troopers all come marching out. The Inquisitor's there. Oh yeah, and I like they roll in and they're all shining their flashlights, and boom, just Ezra and Kanan sitting there, and there's just like an army of these little creatures behind them, and they just both throw their hands out and point at them, and like all the creatures start attacking them, and
It's like the stampede from The Lion King.
yeah, kind
Just
of.
kind of like, this is not going to end well.
But then it's funny because one jumps at the Inquisitor and he just grabs it with the Force and throws it away. And he's like, "This was your plan." Like, he's like laughing on the inside, like, what a joke.
That's cute.
And he goes, "You're going to attack us with these creatures, let them do all the work." And Kanan like stands up and Ezra sends like one more after him, and Kanan says, "How do you think it's going?" Like acting all cool. And then the Inquisitor just knocks it away with a lightsaber, and he goes, "Pathetically." And you're like, yes, this guy is so hardcore. Nothing they do. Then we get an epic lightsaber battle. I love lightsaber battles, you guys.
You don't
So
say.
So good.
Well, and
You
just-
don't say.
I really loved the lighting in this
Oh, yeah.
particular fight.
Yes.
Not only was the choreography really great, but just the lighting, because it's very dark, and just the light from their lightsabers go as they're going back and forth.
It's kind of like the, well, there's been a couple of fights like that, like the Luke and Vader fight,
very reminiscent of that. Yeah,
But from
the Anakin and Count Dooku fight. Remember that one? It's very dark, and the lights just in their faces flashing back forward time.
But from an animation standpoint, especially 3D animation, that is incredibly
Yes.
difficult to
Yeah.
do when you have odd sources of lighting. And the fact that they had multiple sources that were constantly in motion and they kept that's hard to do.
It was
pretty
awesome.
great that they
It's
managed
very
it.
impressive.
And usually the last couple of lightsaber battles we saw weren't very long. And this one went, I mean, it still wasn't like long, but it was longer, and
It had to
it was
be.
a little more satisfying just to see them lightsaber it out a little bit. And you can tell that Kanan is throwing everything he's got, but the Inquisitor is so good, so trained, knows all of their forms of fighting. He's doing it with one hand the whole time.
yeah, he didn't even
Nope,
have to
nope,
bust
denied.
out the
No,
double
he
edge.
didn't even double it. He didn't spin it. Just taking. No big deal.
And can I say my favorite probably image from this entire scene is just him holding both his lightsaber and Kanan's. Just with the lighting and everything like that, with the colors. It's
Right.
Dual
so
wielding.
cool.
You're right. This part was my favorite part. I actually laughed out loud. I'm not just saying it. I actually laughed very hard and paused it so that I could laugh and write down this notes because it was so funny.
Do your notes just say LOL?
They should. LOL. He knocks down Kanan. Just hits him with whatever, the Force knocks him down. Kanan falls over. He's like, he's kind of like knocked out for a second. His lightsaber rolls away, and you can tell he's about to walk up and try to kill Kanan. And Ezra runs up, and he uses the Force, and he grabs the lightsaber, and he stands there like all awesome, like I will protect you. And he's
Honey,
like,
no.
and you're like, oh god, what are you doing, Ezra?
And get
you
ready to
stopped it.
freeze
And-
frame.
And you stop to pop more popcorn
And
because
he,
seriously.
He points it at the Inquisitor, and he's like, I won't let you hurt him, or whatever he says. And, I mean, in the very instant that Ezra points the lightsaber at him, he just forces it out of his hand and takes it. Like, I mean, so smooth and easy. It was ridiculous. Like Ezra just goes like, "I won't let you." What?
Oh, where did he
And
go?
he's holding it, and he's like, "Oh boy."
Boy, that didn't work out like I had in my head.
That was so cool. Like, just to see a villain just so powerful over the heroes is hilarious. Like, it's just funny because usually, I thought I was going to see, like the Inquisitor actually fight Ezra for a second.
Oh, please.
And I was like, oh, God, please don't make Ezra swing that sword around. He has no idea what he's doing.
Like, it would have been kind of hilarious if the Inquisitor had let him try for just like a second and then just knocked him back.
Yeah.
Like, it would have been kind of
I
funny,
still
but that's
think it
way
was,
better.
it was way better.
I love that the Inquisitor just has no time for him.
Nothing.
And I also love that they're keeping it constant. They've introduced the Inquisitor as a very real threat.
Yes.
And they have not undermined that.
No,
And
he's-
you'd expect them to because, oh, well, here's our hero, and oh, he's learning, and oh, well, he has a good source of power, and maybe he'll hold his own.
Nope.
No.
He's too powerful for them, and he takes them every single time, and they only ever get away by having some kind of little trick or little Kanan or somebody coming up with some crazy idea to get them out of it.
The skin
they're-
of their teeth every single
yeah,
time.
they're very resourceful, and that's the only way that they survive. So
And not to like kind of fall back on the, oh, you sly dog, you had me monologuing. But the monologue the Inquisitor gives as Ezra's backing up and he has both lightsabers, that was pretty cool.
oh, it was cool.
Well,
oh, and
he wants Ezra.
he
It's like,
want- yeah,
okay,
he wants him to join the dark
here's
side.
a little here's someone who, has the
I'm gonna
force
lay
and
some
zero
facts on
training.
you, kid.
Yeah.
Here's how it's going to be. And now I'm going to adopt you and make you evil, and it'll be great.
Yeah. So
Because
We'll rule the galaxy as guy and other guy.
because
I
your
heard-
alternative is death and the death of all
yeah,
humans.
that's
And I heard there's an opening where your parents are concerned.
Yeah, there you go.
That slot needs to be filled.
So that's what he tells him. And he has the two lightsabers. This is what you're talking about. He's walking and half of his face is glowing blue and half of his face is glowing red. And he's just giving this evil monologue of like, everyone you know will die.
Your friends,
All your
will,
friends
die.
will die.
Everyone you
He
care
goes,
about will die.
every-
You'll be alone again.
Every plan you have will fail, and he's like, this is it. This is the end. You're going into the darkness. And Ezra's like freaking out and like, no. And he's getting angry. And that's what he was trying to do. He was giving him one of those, push him into the anger so he can channel the dark side. That's what all dark side people want you to do is channel the dark side, tap into it. Because if they can make you go
If
evil.
you strike me down, I will become even more powerful than you can possibly imagine.
Well,
So
Not
instead,
so
no, he'd just be dead. And
Ezra-
then Hera would be our main character.
So it happens. Ezra channels the Force. He gets so angry, he channels the Force, and you can tell he's a little bit using the dark side there because it's a little more powerful, and he's mad, and he wants to kill him.
I'm going to say more than a little bit on this one.
Well,
Because-
I mean, his intentions were still good, but
The road to hell.
You know what
Yeah,
they say
yeah,
about
Anger leads to
intentions on the
hate.
road to
Yeah,
hell.
exactly.
Yeah.
So
I mean, Anakin's intentions were good.
that's true. Until he killed the young lady.
Exactly. It's
Well,
a slippery slope
it is
that
a
ends
slippery
in
slope.
child murder.
Well, I mean, Yoda taught us that. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to what? Suffering.
Yeah.
No, hate leads to
Fear
fear.
leads to anger.
Fear
Anger
leads to
leads to
anger.
hate.
Anger leads to
Hate
hate.
leads
Hate
to
suffering.
suffering.
Right, and suffering. Yeah,
Back to the dark side.
That's bad. So, yeah, we've learned this before. But Ezra
don't
does it
say.
anyways. And he summons must be like the brood mother of these things.
He summons the boss fight.
Right, he comes out raw, and you could tell it took it all out of him, and he kind of passes out, and that thing runs over and starts battling the Inquisitor, which is distracting him. Kanan wakes up, he says, "Oh my God, no!" Runs over, grabs him. He says, "We're getting out of here." Gets his lightsaber, they start taking off.
Well, the Inquisitor's fighting the thing with the double-bladed
Right.
swirling lightsaber and Kanan's. Just
Yeah.
no, we're not taking it.
It knocked Kanan's out of his
Did it?
hand.
Okay, yeah.
It knocked Kanan's out of his hand, and that's how Kanan got it back.
Okay.
And while they were getting on the ship, the Inquisitor did scare it away. He slashed his hand and scared it away. And then he threw his lightsaber at Kanan, which he always does, and Kanan knocked it away again.
Yeah, and Kanan was able to grab his lightsaber
Yeah.
in the process.
Right, so he knocked his Inquisitor's away, and they got on their ship for a getaway. And it was a smart move as they were flying out. They blasted the Inquisitor ship, so now he
Yeah.
can't chase after him. So they bought themselves some time now he's kind of stranded on that place until they send someone to come get him.
You know what else I really like about this particular villain is he doesn't throw a tantrum when things don't go his way.
Yeah, he's always very calm.
Yeah, he still carries, there's a lot of dignity with the way he carries himself.
And he doesn't take it out on other people like some other Star Wars villains do.
Yeah.
My master will not be pleased.
That's all he says, right? My master will not be pleased. Instead of like
you,
this is
you
your
failed
fault.
me.
Choke.
Yeah,
'cause
exactly.
I feel like in another show, he and Callus would just be at each other's throats all the time.
Right.
And it would be played for humor.
Yeah.
When they're on their ship, you could tell Ezra something's wrong with him. Like he doesn't feel good. Like he feels like something's wrong, and he even tells Kanan, he's like, "I saved us," and he's like, "Yeah, you saved us," and he's like, "But something feels wrong."
And he didn't remember it.
And he didn't
either.
remember anything. And Kanan says, "Look, if your will isn't strong enough, when you open yourself up to the Force, you become vulnerable to the dark side." And that's what happened. He opened himself up completely to like just use everything he had, but his will wasn't strong enough yet because he hasn't been completely trained properly to how to resist the temptation of the dark side and the power of the dark side. 'Cause we all know the power of the dark side.
Although it's a little contradictory because Kanan told him, you need to let your guard down.
Yeah, but you have to be
You have to know
strong-willed.
what you're doing,
Right, you have
yeah.
to know what you're doing, but you got to do that. So
Keep in mind that Kanan is not the best teacher.
Kanan never made it past a Padawan.
True.
Graduating.
Kanan
from
was
Jedi
in like
school.
5th grade, and now he's teaching a 1st grader, and it's like arithmetic.
Well, he was Ezra's age. I think he was about Ezra's age. So yeah, he was probably junior high, like early high school, early
man.
Jedi high school. That'd be a cool show.
Jedi
Not really.
High.
Jedi High School.
Jedi High. I don't want to see that.
I do. I would watch that TV program with Principal Vader and Superintendent.
So they
Chancellor.
they get on the ship.
Superintendent Chancellor
Sheev.
Palpatine.
So now we have our end of the story wrap up. They get on the ship, and Ezra, needs some time alone, whatever. Hera knows about his parents. We find out she knows, but she didn't say anything because they haven't had a chance to talk yet. And then we get a nice little moment with Sabine. She walks in and she kind of gives him a little talk. I'm like, oh, it's been crazy a couple days, huh? And she gives him a picture of his family that she recovered as a disc real quick.
Happy birthday.
So, guys, we're running out of time. So, that's the story. It was pretty good this week. It was a good continuation. I want to do, real quick, news and gossip because we have some stuff.
AfterBuzz TV News.
Okay, Katie, you showed us something earlier today. Give us that news.
I have to
News and
remember
gossip
exactly what it was.
about the 3 or 4 seasons.
That supposedly Star Wars Rebels is going to have 3 or 4 seasons. They've already planned out where it's going to go, where it's going to end. And that after episode 7 comes out, we may well have an animated series that takes place in the world and time frame of episode 7 to try and get the
another
audience.
cartoon, yeah.
Because they have a set ending
Right.
in mind
Yes.
for Rebels.
Right, and they have to because it's, it's only so much time.
It has a plot.
Speaking of episode 7 teaser this weekend.
Yeah.
In select theaters. You should look that up online. If you're watching this a couple of weeks from now, well, maybe you've already heard of it or seen it, because who knows? They might put it online the next day or whatever. But if you're watching this weekend, episode 7 teaser, it's 88 seconds long, will be in select theaters. I'm excited. I think I might try to go to one.
And do we know what movies? Is it for all theater or for every movie in said theater?
I think it's every movie in whatever theater they have on their list. It's
Okay.
going to be like right at the start of whatever movie.
And we can find this
So,
list on the
go
website.
see Hunger Games and watch the trailer.
Yeah,
Or whatever.
There's a list online somewhere.
Okay.
You can look them up. They have I think there's 30 or so theaters across the U.S. So look it up. Maybe if you want to see a movie this weekend, there's a good excuse now to go see a Star Wars teaser. That'll be exciting. Ooh.
Super exciting.
And like I said before, guys, this show comes back January the 5th with episode 8, Path of the Jedi.
Yeah.
But until then, if you want to talk to us, talk to us on iTunes, talk to us on YouTube, or you can find us on Twitter or wherever we are. Megan, why don't you tell them where they can find you?
You can find me on Twitter at TheMenguin. That's TheMenguin. I'm also on a bunch of shows here at AfterBuzz.
And Katie?
I'm Katie Cullen. You can find me on Twitter and Tumblr at Kiaxet. That's Kiaxet. I'm also on Sword Art Online, Z Nation, and Arrow, which has its big crossover next week.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Crossover with The Flash.
The Flash.
Oh,
yeah. Big two-part,
I'm a big
two-night
Flash
crossover.
guy. I love The Flash.
I've already seen it. It's so good.
Jerk. All right. I
go to the screening. They
Thanks
love
for
me.
joining us again. I'm Dillon Chance. You can find me on Twitter at Dillon Chance, or you can find me here on Sundays for Grimm. But until next time, may the Force be with you.
And
Also with you.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.